Steve Bellows stood quietly at the drafting table in his office, reviewing plans for one of his current projects. Things had been pretty hectic lately, especially on this project. For some reason, there were constantly small glitches, such as the one he was looking at today, or the one that caused him to miss the party the other night. Fortunately, Steve was very experienced and knowledgeable in his work, and always seemed to be able to find a solution to any crisis that arose. As he pondered the current problem, Steve suddenly thought he saw a way to deal with the problems and make the necessary changes without disrupting the construction schedule. Just as he began to make notes, he was interrupted by the sound of the office door opening. His initial reaction was to lash out at whoever it was because he didn't like being interrupted, especially when he was working on a solution. But when he looked up, a smile appeared on his face. He saw his wife. Donna, his wife of 15 years, the mother of their 3 children, was the pride of his life. Although he was happy to see her, he was a little surprised, as she didn't usually just drop in on him. Steve stepped toward Donna, intending to hug and kiss her, but pulled back when he noticed the rather serious expression on her face. "Donna, what a surprise. I didn't expect to see you before dinner. What's wrong? Is something bothering you?" "Steve, we need to talk. But before I say anything else, trust me that I love you and that you are the most important person in my life." The serious tone of voice made him pull back a little, although it wasn't completely foreign. It didn't come up often in a conversation between them, much less a conversation about love. "What's the matter, Donna? What are you trying to tell me?" said Steve, concern audible in his voice. "I wish there was some simple way to say it, but there isn't. At the same time, I wish I could explain it, understand how it happened." "What is it, Donna? What are you trying to tell me?" he said, and there was a note of harshness in his voice. I, Donna finally continued, trembling. "I slept with Gil Gentry." "You what?" I asked, not believing what I was hearing. Of course, Donna wouldn't cheat on me after all. We had often talked about couples getting burned by fooling around and how we would never do that to each other. "That night, at the party you couldn't make it to, he somehow seduced me. I don't know how, but suddenly we were doing it." "How could you?" The bitterness and anger was now evident in my voice. "I suppose you want to tell me you're leaving me." "No, Steve, I love you, but I had to tell you what happened and what's going on." "So tell me, Donna, to make me feel better." The bitterness was clearly audible in my voice. "I don't know how it happened. It just happened. He seduced me and I let him. Please believe me, I feel awful. And today Gil tried to blackmail me." And she dumped the whole story of what happened on me. I found it hard to believe, firstly, that Donna had cheated on me so easily, and secondly, that Gil Gentry, who I considered a close friend, could have done something like that to me and the others Donna had alluded to. As hurt and angry as I was at Donna, I couldn't let that bastard go unpunished, especially after seeing the pictures that clearly pointed to a hidden camera. I knew that if I didn't take quick action, he would get away with it, and I couldn't let that happen. I went outside and asked Darlene to see if her brother was available, because it was urgent. She immediately made arrangements to find him and put him through to me. I went back to my desk to take the call when she connected me to Donna and walked past without dignifying her with a glance. "Mike, we have a situation here that needs immediate attention. It appears that Gil Gentry is seducing women in his office and then blackmailing them with hidden camera photos to provide sex for clients, himself and anyone else he damn well pleases. I know this because one of the ones he used was my so-called loving wife. He just tried to blackmail her, and I have the pictures. I'm afraid if we don't hurry, he'll rip out the camera and destroy all the other evidence." I saw Donna cringe at my remark about her, but what did I care about her feelings after what she had done? Afterward, I passed on some more information, including the supposed identity of Sue Dahlgreen as another victim. Sue and her husband were friends of Mike's, and he, like most people, was shocked when they divorced, and her husband moved away. Seizing the moment, Mike asked me to meet him at the courthouse with the pictures in 10 minutes, after which he would get a search warrant and tear the office apart. You could hear the tension in his voice as he apologized for the possible embarrassment, but said the photos would help convince the judge to issue the warrant. I got up to head to the station and suddenly realized Donna was still sitting there, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." "Yeah, of course you didn't mean to, but you did it. Go home. Maybe we can talk when I get there." With those words, I walked out the door without even looking back at Donna, telling Darlene that I was out for the day and to only call me in case of an emergency. Before I started the car, I couldn't resist looking at the pictures of the love of my life cheating on me. I thought I really knew her, but obviously I didn't. 1,000 thoughts ran through my head as I drove to meet Mike. What should I do, kill her, kill Gil, or what? Why would he do that? We were best friends, and best friends wouldn't do that to each other, would they? Is my marriage over? Why did I wish it wasn't? What had I done to make Donna do this to me? To us? One thing I knew for sure. I wanted them to pay for what they had done. Looking back now, I realized that even though I knew Gil had to be truly guilty, because it was clear from everything in the pictures that he had planned something, I still felt that Donna was equally to blame. After all, she could have said no. The next few hours passed like a blur. I met with Mike, who, after talking to me for a few minutes, went to the judge's office and came out of there with a search warrant. After assuring me that they would find the bastard, he told me to go home. He promised to get back to me as soon as he could and tell me what they had found. I wasn't ready to face Donna yet, so I asked him to call me on my cell phone and headed to my truck. I didn't really want to go anywhere, nor did I need to. So I just drove aimlessly around town, waiting for the call. It seemed like it took forever, but finally Mike called. "Steve, I can't give you all the details, but we got here just in time. It looks like your friend Gil was going to clean up the evidence, but didn't make it in time. Too bad you didn't see his face when I handed him the warrant and told him to stay in the waiting room. Long story short, we found the camera and a link to his computer. One of my people is an expert, and of course he found lots of pictures. This may not be any consolation to you, but Donna was just one of many. As sad as it is, we both know many of them, and yes, Sue was one of them too. As far as I can tell, Gil slipped something into their drinks, and that made it easier for him." Mike continued. "I know you're angry with Donna, and in a way I can't blame you. But think hard. I don't think she had a chance." Mike told me some other things, but most of it went over my head until he informed me that Gil had been arrested for sexual assault and extortion. With any luck, he'll be gone for a few years. In some ways, that was music to my ears, but in other ways, it only added to the pain I was feeling over Donna's betrayal. It may not have been intentional, but still she could have stopped him, could have fought him, but she didn't. I still didn't know what I should do, but I realized that I needed to confront her. To put it mildly, it didn't go well. On the plus side, Donna had arranged for the kids to spend the night with friends, so we didn't have to worry about them walking in on us or hearing us fighting. But that was the only plus. I don't know what I expected to hear, or, for that matter, wanted to hear, but whatever it was, it didn't come through. Donna kept telling me how sorry she was and how much she loved me, but she couldn't tell me why. I tried to ask her what I had done that made her do that, and even though she didn't say anything, it didn't make me feel any better. Donna assured me that she would never do anything like that again. But how could I believe her? I never thought she could be unfaithful after all. She had already stood in front of our family and friends and made a vow years ago, and that vow had clearly been broken. After going back and forth for some more time, it was clear that nothing was going to be settled. I told Donna that I needed time to think, to decide if we were done or if we could work things out, and she should give me time. She agreed to visit her sister for a few days, leaving me at home to contemplate my future. Good thing the kids weren't home. I don't think they like to see their old man getting drunk, but that's exactly what I did, for the first time in a long time. I sat back, refilling my glass and reminiscing about the years gone by, remembering how we met and fell in love, thinking about the first time we made love. Waking up the next morning, I felt out of sorts. After getting to the bathroom and swallowing a few painkiller pills, I stood under the shower trying to look into the past, but all I could see was what had been and what had been torn apart by Donna's actions. No matter how hard I tried to find some silver lining, all I saw was Donna cheating on me. By the end of the morning, I realized that I needed to go outside and get some fresh air. I changed into my gym uniform and headed to the park, figuring a good jog would do me good. It was about half an hour after I started when I bumped into another runner. I didn't pay much attention to her, automatically moving to the other side of the path to go around her. Just as I passed her, immersed in my thoughts, I heard her call my name. "Steve, please stop. I need to talk to you." Surprised, I stopped and looked back. It was Nancy, Gil Gentry's wife. My first reaction was to ignore her and rush away, but one look at her face made me think I was looking in a mirror because she had the same hunted look on her face as I had when I brushed my teeth that morning. Instinctively, I realized that as much as I wanted to berate her for what her husband had done to me, I should listen to her, because she was obviously a victim too. I turned off the path and waited for Nancy to catch up with me, hesitating and not knowing what to say. Fortunately, she spoke first. "Steve, please believe me when I say I didn't know what he was doing. I can't believe he did this to Donna and the others." As she spoke, a tear escaped from the corner of her eye and rolled down her cheek. Nancy told me about the shock she felt when she got the call that Gil had been arrested and that the police were coming to their house with a search warrant. She said that when they left, they took the computer and a bunch of disks with them and left the computer room a complete mess. As other joggers walked past us, casting odd glances at the two of us, I realized we should move elsewhere to continue the conversation, and was surprised when she suggested we go to her house, albeit a little sullenly. After all, no one ever goes home again. I followed her, thinking about how past visits had been different. Donna by my side, the presence of other friends, friendly, joyful gatherings. Today was different when I walked inside, where it was just the two of us. Two wounded souls trying to understand what had happened to us. We sat and talked, and she explained that yes, she knew that Gil had always looked up to and even flirted with most of his girlfriends. But she thought all of us guys did. I had to admit that yes, we all probably did. After all, I had flirted with Nancy a few times myself, and knew that Donna had flirted with Gil and a few of our other friends. But in my case, and Nancy's, and I assumed Donna's, all we did was watch and flirt. Well, maybe fantasize a little from time to time. It soon became clear that as much as she was hurt by the realization of Gil's betrayal, she was more concerned with how it would affect the other participants who were affected by Gil. I tried to explain that I understood that it wasn't her fault, that it was something inside Gil that he was hiding from everyone except those caught in his web of deceit. At the same time, I felt bitter about Donna and her betrayal of me. For a while, we sat over a glass, pouring out our stories and sorrows to each other, knowing we would be understood. Eventually, after talking for a while longer about Donna's betrayal, I thought that maybe I should leave. I stood up, went to the door, and turned to thank Nancy for listening to me. She came over to me and hugged me tightly, trying to tell me that it wasn't Donna's fault in any way, that she had somehow gotten caught up in something she couldn't contain or overcome, and that maybe I should give her a second chance. When I felt her arms wrap around me and her breasts pressed against me, I hugged her back. The hug seemed to help us both realize our grievances and probably our needs. Soon, the intensity of the hug changed from purely comforting to needing closeness. I don't know exactly whose lips sought whose first. I only know that we were soon involved in a passionate kiss, our sweaty bodies pressed tightly against each other. I felt Nancy's tongue penetrate my mouth and met it with my own. I had always found Nancy attractive. About 5'10", curly red hair, slender build. Sure, I'd never participated in anything more than a friendly kiss on New Year's Eve or a quick hello or goodbye hug at the door, but this was clearly different. I reached up to feel her breasts, to caress them. Funny, yesterday and today I thought I'd never get an erection again, but now I was at full force. "Sleep with me, Steve. I need it," said Nancy as she finally stirred, rolled over, and lifted her ass, looking back at me. "Now. Please, now." We did this persistently. We didn't say anything for a while, letting our breathing come back to normal and giving us time to gather our thoughts. I think we both realized that this was something neither of us were looking for, unlike Gil, who was after Donna and the others, but at the same time it was something we needed. Finally, I stood up and reached for my clothes. I think Nancy saw the confusion in my eyes because she said, "Steve, don't hate me. I'm not like Gil. I didn't set out to seduce you, and I know you didn't set out to do it either. I needed this tonight to regain my faith in myself after what he did to me. I know you love Donna. Don't let resentment destroy you and her. But you needed it. I consider you my friend. And thank you for coming today." We hugged once more, and I went home to think about what had happened over the past few days. But now I had a lot to think about. I realized that I had just cheated on Donna. I didn't mean to, but I had cheated, just like she had cheated on me. At the same time, I realized that until I was sure my marriage was over, revenge would be no excuse. I wondered if things had been different. If Donna hadn't cheated and I had gotten back together with Nancy anyway, would I have admitted my infidelity? But I couldn't answer. If Gil hadn't tried to blackmail Donna, would she have confessed to me? The more I thought about it, the more I realized that I loved her. It hurt, and I had a damn right to. Did I hate her or just what she'd done? And at the same time, was what I had just done more right than what she had done? In all likelihood, Donna now had a right to be offended by what I had done. I pondered for a long time, trying to decide what I should do, and finally made up my mind. With those words, I cleaned up the dishes behind me and went to bed. Needless to say, I had another nearly sleepless night. I tossed and turned, falling briefly into a dream, and then I was awakened by pictures of Donna and Gil or Nancy and me. Donna was quite surprised when I called her and told her it was time to talk. Even when she agreed to meet me an hour later, I could hear the questions, anticipation, and fear mixed in equal measure in her voice. It was easy to understand that I was feeling the same emotions, knowing that we needed to talk and get things out in the open, and realizing that it had to happen now, not in the future. It was a little awkward at first, both of us unsure of what we wanted to say beyond simple words of greeting. I think Donna wanted to reach out her arms and hug me, but was afraid of my reaction, and I was afraid to hug her until we talked. Finally, Donna spoke, trying to apologize for her act, but also making it clear that she couldn't understand how she had gotten to the point of cheating on me. It was clear from her words that she could never do that again if only I would let her come back to me. Before she continued, I told her that I had something to say, not only about what she had done, but also about what I had done. I explained that I was angry and hurt, that I had drunk myself into a stupor, and, in an attempt to feel human and punish myself at the same time, had gone for a run. I could see Donna tense up when I told her about meeting Nancy, going to her house, and having sex with each other. But as I went on, she seemed to relax a little as well, especially when I told her how my introduction to Nancy, however unintentional, had led me to realize that I needed to forgive her and seek forgiveness for my own actions. At the same time, I made it clear that her actions gave me no reason to cheat on her, nor did I intend to. Truth be told, if it hadn't been for meeting Nancy, I don't know if I would have gotten over Donna and Gil, especially after I had the opportunity to look at the pictures. The reality is that when I returned home after Nancy, I realized that sometimes things happen without intention. Neither Nancy nor I intended to make love, and the more I thought about it, the more I came to realize that Donna had no intention of sleeping with Gil. And yet, we'd both been unfaithful. Now it was up to us to move on and try to repair our relationship. It wouldn't be easy, as we would both have to face the issue of trust. We would also face the fact that Donna would have to testify in court, revealing our lives and her mistake to the world. But we agreed that we had and have too much in common to give that up, and we needed to do it. Epilogue. From that day forward, we moved forward, but a common purpose and love kept us moving forward. I know we both had moments when we thought about our partner being with someone else, and obviously it bothered us. We forgave, but we couldn't forget yet. One huge hurdle was Gil's decision to plead guilty, perhaps in the face of overwhelming testimony from Donna and others who had been drawn into his scheme. Although we were prepared for a trial, the guilty plea lifted a huge weight off Donna's shoulders and, yes, brought a sense of relief to me as well. We had our own issues to deal with, but at least we wouldn't have to share some of them with the entire community. Another factor that helped us was Donna and Nancy's emotional reunion a few months after our worlds exploded. Nancy immediately wanted to apologize, first for what her now ex-husband had done to Donna, and then for making love to me. To her surprise, Donna hugged her, telling her it was okay, and really stunned her when she told Nancy that she actually needed to thank her. Donna told her that without my involvement with Nancy, I might never have forgiven her or worked with her to repair our marriage. Surprisingly, especially in light of our meeting, we renewed our friendship with Nancy, which meant a great deal to her since many people had ostracized her because of Gil's misdeeds. Gradually, we began to spend a lot of time together, and one evening she invited us to lounge in her hot tub. But that's another story.